These are Landcruiser Prados, and this is what they look like both 20 years ago and just 2 years ago. So what's changed in that 20-year period? Well, today we're going to find out what's actually changed between the 120 series Prado launched in 2002 and the modern 150 series Prado that finished in 2023. Toyota have been doing this Prado thing for long enough that by the time they got to the updated 150 series, they'd made a few big improvements. That's a GXL and that's a VX. So let's see what the differences are. Both these Prados are on original suspension, and it's quite obvious that the 150 sits up a bit higher than the 120. You know, bearing in mind that the suspension may not be quite as high as it once was when it was new. These are both Toyota genuine accessory bull bars. And the pro that the 120 seems to have is that it's got provision for a winch up the front, or seems to have some sort of provision for a winch set up on the bull bar, or the 150 does not. 150 features sharper design, LED headlights and a bolder, higher front end. Whereas the more rounded 120 series Prado still looks good, but when placed directly to this, you can start to see its age. But that's all right, because the 120 is still based on the Landcruiser DNA.
Under the bonnet, the 120 series came with a 3-litre turbo diesel V6 or a 4-litre V6 petrol. The diesel, reliable but not exactly powerful in today's standards. The petrol made just shy of 250 horsepower when new and 246 Nm of torque. And whilst the new engine may be more eco-friendly, it only makes 200 horsepower and 500 Nm of torque because it's a diesel.
When you put your foot down, you notice that one a whole lot more. And you know, that one's more fuel efficient, but that one's more fun. I'll quickly mention transmissions as well. The 150 comes with a 6-speed auto gearbox, where the earlier 120 comes with a 4-speed auto, which makes this one a little more fuel efficient on the highway. Now, moving down the side of the vehicle, whilst the 150 has a little camera and indicators and sensors in the mirror, the 120 has chrome. I said that as if chrome's better than all of that. What I was getting at there was that this is a VX and that's a GXL, and this has more chrome, but after a while the chrome sort of gets a bit scratched and probably doesn't look as nice, so that's probably why they went with that. But anyway, down the side of the car, same rough side steps, almost exactly the same tread pattern, to be honest. On the 120 you get some plastic grille, and just around sort of the edges around the mudguards, the 120 does seem a little bit more premium with just how they've done it. Just doesn't seem quite so cheap, especially and around the side steps here. I'll show you what I mean. The 150 side step finishes here and has this sort of cheaper looking plastic mudguard here and a big gap here. Whereas coming over here to the 120, the side step sort of molds into this plastic mudguard, and it just seems a little bit less cheap. Another thing the 120 has over the 150 is the 120 has these pop-out windows at the back, allowing a bit of fresh air without having to have the air conditioning running. Whereas at the back on the 150, it's a completely sealed unit. Off-road, both are extremely capable. But the 150 benefits from modern traction control systems, KDSS, which is kinetic dynamic suspension system, and also improved clearance. The 150 brought more creature comforts, bigger infotainment system, automatic lights and window wipers, heated seats, and headlight washers. Plus, the 150 added some serious safety tech over the years, including radar cruise control, lane departure warning, and more airbags. A far cry from that more analog feel 120. When it comes to reliability, the 120 has certainly earned itself legendary status, and so far the 2.8 litre in the 150 is proving to be quite a reliable option. You also do get button start in the 150, where obviously in the 120 you have a key. Now let's talk about the back of the car. Now the back of the 150 series Prado is again a lot sort of bolder and pointier.
Up the top, it's got a spoiler that houses the window wiper and gives it a sort of sporty looking feel. Whereas on the 120 series, it sort of lacks that and just feels like it's missing something, and the window wiper is sort of stuck in, wedged behind the spare tyre. Both have a colour matched spare wheel cover, the 150 with a reverse camera and the 120 with Prado engraved on the back.
Now, coming into the back of the 120 series Prado, and you've got quite a large cargo area and provision for 8 seats. Coming to the back of the 150, once again, you have a cargo area with a power point. You also have a slightly higher raised floor to your boot, as well as 7 seats in this one. The extra 2 fold down into the floor.
Whereas the seats on the 120 series Prado fold up the sides like a typical Landcruiser.
And on both of them, you do get lock tailgates, so if you're parked on a hill, the door doesn't close on you, because they're not exactly light doors. So that's the outside and the exterior of the Prado. What about the interior? Now, because the 120 is the GXL, it does miss out on the leather interior, the wood trim, and a few other little, dual zone climate control, and I think in later models they had some sort of screen. So being the GXL, it does miss out on that. But more standard features, you do get high and low four-wheel drive. You do have a diff lock somewhere, I'm sure. I think. Maybe it's only the higher models that had a diff lock. Very generously sized center console with an armrest that moves forward. You got a manual handbrake, coin tray / ashtray, power, aircon, radio, all of that sort of thing. Hazard lights, you got the passenger seatbelt and airbag lights. You do have second start feature and only tilt on the steering wheel. No automatic headlights. That's really about it. All the windows are automatic though, which is, small bonus. You do have a glasses holder up here as well. Other than that, if you want to see the interior of the 120 series Prado, please check out the Prado video. Welcome to the 2020s, where you've got leathered, heated and cooled front seats that are electrically controlled. You got USB ports, you've got plenty of off-road features, including high and low four-wheel drive, hill descent control, rear diff lock, center diff lock, traction control, and a second start feature. Over here, you've got your 360 camera and reverse camera view buttons, your idle up button, and your parking sensors. Over here, you've got your automatic start, your mirror controls, automatic headlights, headlight washers, and your DPF. That is one thing that the 150 Prado, if you get the diesel, is quite annoying, and a lot of modern diesels do it, almost all of them, I think, and that is the DPF regeneration. God, it's annoying. And they always happen at the most inconvenient times. Lane keeper assist, your front parking, you've got your phone controls over here and radio, voice activation on the steering wheel buttons coming in over here. You've got the slightly outdated head unit.
The infotainment system has both wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as inbuilt GPS.
Center console, not as big as the 120 series, but there is a reason for it. This is also a cool box. It's as deep as the 120 center console, but it doesn't come this way as much because it's got a fan and a cooler in there. Again, you can slide the armrest forward. In the back of the 150, you do get heated leather seats in the VX and rear climate control as well, little charging thing there. Got some nets in the back of the seats. You've got some extra speakers to go with your JBL sound system and air vents in the roof and under the seats. These seats can slide forward manually. I don't know why you'd ever want to have them forward unless you're short and really need the boot space. Little details as well make this a bit more premium, such as the little lights in the cup holders at the door handles and along at the under the side steps that just give it sort of a really faint underglow when it's dark. So in 20 years, Toyota's added a few more four-wheel drive controls, made their Land Cruisers a little bit more luxurious, added a whole lot more tech and features, but kept the underlying DNA of the Landcruiser Prado the same until they made the 250 Prado. These two adventure vehicles have changed a lot in the last 20 years. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe and like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.